Welcome everyone. Today I will be taking structure of pollen grains. We have done in previous video how the microspores are produced from microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell, which is present in the microsporangia. Microsporangia, or you can say pollen sac. So each microspore mother cell produces 4 microspores, and these microspores, they dry and it is then dries and becomes lightweight and known as pollen grains. Now we'll do the structure of pollen grain. If you see the structure of pollen grain is double layered, and it is often spine in nature. ये spine type होता है. So outer layer, this is the outer layer known as exine. It is composed of highly resistant fatty substance known as sporopollenin. It is a highly resistant fatty substance. It is a highly resistant fatty substance. It does not affect at high temperature. Even strong acids, it not degraded by any enzyme. It is a highly resistant fatty substance, exine. So exine is thick, tough layer composed of highly resistant fatty substance known as sporopollenin. Next layer, it is known as intine. Intine is thin. Intine is the inner layer just present below the exine, and it is thin. It is composed of, this is intine. It is composed of cellulose and pectin. ये cellulose और pectin से बना होता है. Now the microspore, it undergoes first mitotic division and it separates this pollen grains into 2 cells, one larger known as vegetative, one larger known as vegetative cell, or you can say tube cell. It stores food. And the smaller one is known as what? It is known as generative cell. It is known as generative cell, which produces what? Male gametes. Clear? So these two, one is larger, another one is, these are smaller. This is smaller cell and this is larger cell. So it is divided by a wall which is known as callus. Clear? So this is the vegetative cell and this is generative cell. Okay. Now this is the nucleus. This is vegetative nucleus, and this is generative nucleus. Clear? And you can see here the exine बीच में pores हैं. अगर पूरा का पूरा ढका रहता एक्साइन से तो स्पोरोपोलेनिन होता और पोलन ट्यूब बन ही नहीं पाता. ठीक है, चारों तरफ से हार्ड हो जाता. सो दिस पोर, इट इज नोन एज जर्म पोर. क्या होता है कि जब पोलन ट्यूब बनता है तो इंटाइन यहां से डिसॉल्व हो जाता है और ये पोलन ट्यूब बनाता है. अगर यहां पे स्पोरोपोलेनिन होगा तो क्या होगा? ये ट्यूब बन नहीं पाएगा, हार्ड हो जाएगा. इसीलिए खाली बीच में पोर्स बने होते हैं ताकि पोलन ट्यूब बने. Clear? So it is not completely covered by sporopollenin, by exine, so that pollen intine can form pollen tube. और पोलन ट्यूब ही स्टाइल के अंदर जाएगा और फिर नीचे जाके ओवम के साथ फर्टिलाइज करेगा. क्लियर? सो दैट इज व्हाई देयर आर सम गैप्स व्हिच इज नोन एज germ pore. Now it is divided into two cells. We have done vegetative cell and generative cell. Generative cell is smaller, vegetative cell is larger. So it is divided by a wall which is known as which is divided by callus, which is temporarily present. Now this cell, then this callus, it then degenerates. Callus is then degenerates. Now you can see the structure here. This is intine. This is intine, or intine vegetative cell. When this callus wall degenerates, it dissolves with the help of callus enzyme produced by tapetum. Then this generative cell is freely present in the where? In the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. ठीक है? So this part, this is generative cell and this is vegetative cell. ठीक है? जेनरेटिव सेल आगे चल के क्या बनाएगा? मेल गैमेट्स बनाएगा. और वेजिटेटिव सेल फूड स्टोर करेगा, न्यूट्रिएंट सप्लाई करेगा. ये कौन सा स्टेज हुआ? टू सेल्ड स्टेज. ये कौन सा स्टेज हुआ? टू सेल्ड स्टेज. 60% of angiosperms it releases pollen grains in two celled stage. इसी हालत में पोलन ग्रेन्स रिलीज हो जाते हैं. 60% of angiosperms release pollen grains in two-celled stage. Clear? And 40%, if you see the next, this is the exine part and this is again intine. This is intine and this is vegetative cell. Here, now the generative cell undergoes mitotic division and it produces two male gametes. It produces two male gametes. So these are the two male gametes. Two male gametes. This is vegetative nucleus and this is vegetative cell. This stage is known as three-celled stage. मतलब दो मेल गैमेट हो गए, एक वेजिटेटिव हो गया, तो कितने हो गए? तीन सेल्ड स्टेज हो गए. So three-celled stage and 40% of angiosperm releases its pollen grains in three-celled stage. क्लियर? अब ये हो गया. पहले हो गया हम स्पोरोजीनस टिश्यू से लेते हैं. प्राइमरी स्पोरोजीनस सेल्स, it undergoes mitosis cell division, that is diploid. It produces microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell, which is also diploid, and this microspore mother cell undergoes meiosis cell division and produces 4 microspores. And these microspores, when they dry and become lightweight, then it is known as pollen grain. This is the structure of pollen grain. The outer layer, it is double layered. Outer layer is exine, which is composed of highly resistant fatty substance known as sporopollenin. And this exine is spine. Sometimes it exists spine, produces spine-like structure, and this is very thick and tough. Whereas intine, it is very thin, formed of cellulose and pectin, and intine, it produces pollen tube. Now, germ pore is present, otherwise what will happen? There will be no formation of pollen tube. The whole pollen grain will become very hard, very tough. So, this germ pore is so that pollen tube can come out. Pollen tube is produced by intine. Now, the microspore, it again undergoes mitotically divides, mitotically divides. First mitotic division takes place and it divides pollen grains into two cells, one larger vegetative cell and smaller generative cell. So the microspore, it undergoes first mitotic division and produces two cells, larger vegetative and smaller generative. Larger vegetative cell, it stores food. Generative cell, it produces gametes. Now next come to this part. When these two cells are separated by a wall which is known as callose, this callose wall, it degenerates, it dissolves with the help of an enzyme callase, and then this generative cell are freely present in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. You can see here, these are present freely. Now this stage is known as two cell because two cell is there. That is, one is, this is vegetative nucleus. Sorry, this you corrected. This is vegetative cell and this is vegetative nucleus. This is vegetative nucleus. So this is vegetative nucleus. Now come to the vegetative cell and generative cell. Now this when the callose wall, it dissolves, then this generative cell is freely present in the vegetative cell, in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. Now this is known as two-celled stage. This is 60% of angiosperms it releases in pollen grains in two-celled stage. Then this generative cell, it undergoes mitotically and then it produces two male gametes, and this is known as three-celled stage. And some 40% of angiosperms releases pollen grains in the form of three-celled stage. Now the dehiscence of anther takes place. When the dehiscence of anther takes place, what happens? That it produces a single chamber like this. Dehiscence. It produces like this, and all the anthers, it comes out. This anthers, it comes out. All the pollen grains come out. These pollen grains released. All the pollen grains come out. All the pollen grains are released. Not anther, I'm sorry. This is pollen grains released. Now, how it releases, you see, the wall of anther. The wall of anther, it shrinks and this endothecium also shrinks and the connection between these two pollen sac, it dissolves. ये यहाँ से डिसॉल्व हो जाएगा और क्या बना देगा? एक सिंगल चैम्बर. जैसे सिंगल चैम्बर बनाएगा, फिर यहाँ से ये रप्चर हो जाएगा. ये यहाँ से श्रिंक करेगा, ये ऊपर की ओर चला जाएगा, ये नीचे की ओर चला जाएगा और जब श्रिंक हो जाएंगे तो ये जो स्टोमियम है ये रप्चर कर जाएगा और सारे के सारे पोलन ग्रेन्स जो हैं वो बाहर आ जाएंगे. This is the dehiscence of anther, and here it is the development of male gametophyte. So we have done the structure of anther, we have done microsporogenesis, then structure of pollen grains, then development of male gametophyte and dehiscence of anther. Till here it is known as प्री-पॉलिनेशन. और जैसे ही पॉलिनेशन हो जाएगा उसके बाद सिग्मा पे स्टिक करेगा, उसके बाद जितने भी स्टेजेस होंगे वो पोस्ट पॉलिनेशन होंगे. यहाँ पे हमने पढ़ लिया स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पोलन ग्रेन कैसे होता है एंड जेनरेटिव सेल कैसे टू मेल गैमेट्स बनाता है. जेनरेटिव सेल अंडरगोस माइटोटिकली एंड इट प्रोड्यूसेस टू मेल गैमेट्स. टू मेल गैमेट्स बन जाएगा, पोलन ग्रेन पूरी तरीके से मैच्योर हो जाएगा और उसके बाद ये पोलन ग्रेन्स कहाँ से बाहर निकलेगा? ये स्टोमियम से. ये जो स्टोमियम है ये रप्चर हो जाएगा और यहाँ से पोलन ग्रेन्स जो है ये यहाँ से बाहर आ जाएगा. दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द मेल स्ट्रक्चर. Now we will do the flow chart. We have done structure of anther lobe, we have done microsporogenesis, we have done the structure of pollen grains and then formation of male gametophyte and then dehiscence of anther. Now once again we will revise the whole process, how the formation of male gametophyte takes place. First, let us start with anther. Anther we know, we have seen the flower. फ्लावर में एंथर जो होता है, चाइना रोज अगर आप देखेंगे, चाइना रोज के अंदर एंथर्स ये वाले एंथर्स होते हैं, ठीक है. दिस इज ऑल, दिस इज सपोज फ्लावर, these parts, these are known as anther. So चाइना रोज के अंदर एंथर सिंगल लोब्ड होता है इस तरीके से, है ना, और बाइलोब्ड होता है, यूनिलोब्ड और बाइलोब्ड. So bilobed means diathecous. I've taken here one anther. This is the anther part and this is the filament part. Anther, if you cut the section of anther, you will find this structure. This structure, that means one anther lobe contains 2 pollen sacs. ये 1 और 2. तो bilobed है तो कितने pollen sac होंगे? 4. So 4 pollen sacs are present, है ना, and they are separated by connective. ठीक है, ये हम पढ़ चुके हैं. So this is the structure of structure of anther lobe. Now if you cut the section of anther lobe, you will find there are outer layer, it is epidermis, just below it is endothecium, and then middle layer, and then tapetum and microspore, primary sporogenous cells, or you can say microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell. Primary sporogenous cells, it is diploid and it undergoes mitosis cell division and it forms pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell, which is also diploid. ठीक है, तो क्या हो गया, ये टेपेटम हो गया, इसके अंदर पोलन मदर सेल बना और माइक्रोस्पोर मदर सेल बना. किससे बना? प्राइमरी स्पोरोजिनस सेल्स से. प्राइमरी स्पोरोजिनस सेल्स आया कहां से? दैट इज आर्केस्पोरियल सेल, जो कि ऊपर 3 लेयर बनाएगा एक्सक्लूडिंग एपिडर्मिस, और अंदर क्या बनाएगा? प्राइमरी स्पोरोजिनस टिश्यूज. एंड प्राइमरी स्पोरोजिनस टिश्यूज से क्या बना? पोलन मदर सेल. अब इसके अंदर क्या हो गया? पोलन मदर सेल. आई हैव टेकन ओनली 1 माइक्रोस्पोर मदर सेल, 1 PMC, and then it undergoes meiosis cell division. तो सबसे पहले meiosis हुआ. meiosis में each microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell surrounds by a layer of polysaccharide, layer of callose wall, that is callose tough layer, which protects the developing pollen grains. Now this first the nuclear division takes place, that is 1, it is divided, it undergoes meiosis 1 cell division, produces 2 microspores, and then again it undergoes meiosis 2 cell division, then it forms 4 microspores, and these microspores are haploid. ठीक है, तो ये क्या बना है? एक कैलोस लेयर बनाया है, जो कैलोस लेयर डिपोजिशन ऑफ पॉलीसेकेराइड layer, that is known as callose wall, and callose wall protects the developing pollen grains. अब यहाँ पे क्या बना? 4 microspore mother cells and then cytoplasmic division takes place. ये cytoplasmic division हुआ, जिसके अंदर callose धीरे धीरे increase किया, gradually increases, and then it divides the cytoplasm into 4. तो चारों माइक्रोस्पोर्स उन 4 साइटोप्लाज्म जो डिवीजन हुआ उसके अंदर रहेगा, बट दे आर ऑल attached to each other and form a tetrad. Tetrad मतलब 4, but they are attached to each other. Slowly, due to the callous enzyme released by this tapetum layer, it dissolves and all the 4 microspores क्या हो जाता है? बाहर निकल आता है. And this all contain, this is tetrad. This is 4 microspores. ठीक है. Now, the structure of pollen grain, you can see that it is the outer layer, it is known as exine, and inner layer is known as intine. And here it is larger cell, it is known as vegetative, and here it is known as generative. Now, vegetative cell, it stores food material. Generative cell, it produces male gamete. ठीक है, तो ये पहले एक callose wall जो कि temporary wall होता है, it is separated by callose wall, and the larger cell is known as vegetative cell and the smaller one is known as generative cell. Now, slowly the callus wall dissolves and this generative cell, it then freely lies in the cytoplasm. ठीक है, ये हो गया generative cell और ये हो गया vegetative cell. ठीक है, अब ये freely इसके अंदर होने लगा. So, जब freely present, this vegetative cell and generative cell. Now, generative cell is freely present in the cytoplasm. Now, this generative cell, then it forms two male gametes. Now, we have done that the pollen grains are released either in the 2-celled stage or in the 3-celled stage. 2-celled stage means vegetative cell and generative cell. ठीक है, या तो इस स्टेज में रिलीज होगा या फिर इस स्टेज में रिलीज होगा. तो 60% एंजियोस्पर्म्स जो है वो 2-celled स्टेज में रिलीज हो जाता है और 40% 3-celled स्टेज में रिलीज होता है. नाउ जैसे ही पोलन ग्रेन मैच्योर हो जाएगा, 2 मेल गैमेट्स बन जाएंगे, देन द वॉल ऑफ दिस एंथरलोब इट श्रिंक्स एंड endothecium also shrinks and the connection between the two pollen sacs, it ruptures, it dissolves, and the pollen grains, these pollen grains come out. Pollen grains release. ठीक है, so this is all about this, the flow chart, how the male gametes are produced and then the releasing of pollen grains from the pollen sac. तब तक यहां तक ये कहां रहेगा, पोलन सैक के अंदर ही रहेगा. और उसके बाद दिस पोलन ग्रेन्स व्हेन दे आर रिलीज्ड एंड दे आर देन स्टिक ऑन द स्टिग्मा पार्ट. बट all these pollen grains, they are haploid in nature. Now these pollen grains, sometimes these pollen grains are very allergic to like carrot grass, है ना, कैरेट ग्रास है, ये सब क्या है, बहुत एलर्जिक टू ब्रोंकाइटिस और रेस्पिरेशन में प्रॉब्लम करता है. पार्थेनियम ग्रास है और गाजर घास बहुत जगह मिलते हैं, इससे भी बहुत एलर्जी होता है. पोलन ग्रेन्स एलर्जिक होता है, कुछ पोलन ग्रेन्स एलर्जिक होता है, कुछ यूजफुल भी होता है. कुछ पोलन ग्रेन्स यूजफुल होता है, दे आर वेरी गुड न्यूट्रिएंट्स, दे आर पोलन टैबलेट्स आर नाउ अवेलेबल, दे आर द फूड सप्लीमेंट्स, है ना, एथलीट्स लेते हैं ज्यादातर टू इंक्रीज देयर परफॉर्मेंस. सो पोलन ग्रेन्स सम आर यूजफुल एंड सम आर हार्मफुल आर कैरेट ग्रास हो गया और पार्थेनियम हो गया, ये सब ब्रोंकाइटिस रेस्पिरेशन प्रॉब्लम करता है. और जो यूजफुल है वो कई बार एथलीट्स लेते हैं, दे आर गुड फूड सप्लीमेंट्स, दे आर गुड न्यूट्रिएंट्स, यू कैन से इट इज टेकन अप बाय द एथलीट्स टू इंक्रीज देयर परफॉर्मेंस. नाउ दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द formation of male gametophyte, releasing of pollen grains. This is the flow chart of the whole process. Thank you, children.